Brett Dawson from Sellout Crowd here at Paycom Center, where it is late, a late night game for the Thunder, and a 112-95 win against the Houston Rockets. Houston, not one of the best teams in the NBA, not one of the better teams in the Western Conference, and not particularly a good team at all on the road, but there's some significance for OKC, which beats the Rockets for the second time in 3 games, wins its 6th straight overall, but those 2 straight games against the Rockets on Sunday and then back here tonight, meaningful for a team that, has some players who have been to the playoffs, but hasn't been there as a team and has a bunch of guys who've never had any playoff experience. Nothing compares to playoff experience. But Jalen Williams, J-Dub, talked tonight about when you're a team that doesn't have it and you're a team that plans on being in the playoffs, you can use these sort of short series, these 2-game series like this, to kind of simulate that experience just a little bit. So you take what happened in Sunday's game in Houston. How do you expect the Rockets are going to adjust their game plan? How do you adapt to what those changes might be and then are ultimately in the game? And the Thunder really handled that well. Their defense was excellent tonight on a night when offense came and went, but they really were able to keep the Rockets from making sustained runs and cutting into that lead just by really locking down defensively. They closed out hard. They made smart rotations. Rockets go just 9 of 39 from 3-point range on a night when, those shots weren't falling. Really, it was some offensive rebounding that kept Houston in the game. Some of that really good effort by the Rockets. Some of it, some lucky bounces that didn't go the Thunder's way against a bigger team. But really, the Thunder's defense was the story of the game, other than what Shai Gilgeous-Alexander did offensively. 31 points for Shai. That's not news. He does that every night. But 4 3-pointers, that's a season high. And it highlights that over the past 30 games or so, Shai's about a 45% 3-point shooter. And if he's going to make shots like that, the way he did tonight, the way he's been making them lately, the Thunder becomes an even harder team to guard, and he becomes an even harder MVP candidate to deal with. Because if you have to respect him, as his teammates J-Dub and Chet were talking about tonight, if you have to respect that jump shot, you have to close that space. We know how good he is at driving by a defender, getting into the lane, finishing, getting fouled, getting into his mid-range game. So the 3-point shot opens up some other stuff for him. It opens up some other stuff for this team. And, it's a pretty good sample size that says he's becoming a better shooter. He's looked for them a little bit more. He's finding good looks from 3-point range. Made one tonight over his Canadian countryman Dylan Brooks that essentially ended the game. The game was pretty much put away at that point, but the Thunder cleared the bench after that shot, kind of the icing on the cake in the game tonight. Shai was great again, 31 points. J-Dub had 24. Chet Holmgren, 18 points, 13 rebounds, blocked 3 shots. He had a lob to Gordon Hayward as the passer, and Chet also had a reverse dunk lob from J-Dub, Jalen Williams, who joked after the game that was such a perfect lob that Chet couldn't have messed it up, but he didn't expect him necessarily to throw down a reverse dunk over Alperen Şengün. Thunder with a pretty comfortable win, just never really let the Rockets make a sustained run, and that's 6 in a row, and now headed off to San Antonio, a team that it has really dominated in a couple of previous meetings. Another Chet Holmgren versus Victor Wembanyama matchup. The Thunder gets a day off before that game, and then a little bit of a gap. They play a Thursday game in San Antonio, and then don't play again until Sunday in Phoenix. That's such a long gap that they'll actually come home after the San Antonio game rather than going straight out to start the road trip that follows. We'll have coverage from this game and all the others at selloutcrowd.com and more later on my YouTube channel, so make sure you check it out.